Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello, 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 and welcome back to another exciting episode of Live, Let, Thrive. I am Stevie Stacks, your host, coming at you from Fort Worth, Texas, and this is your favorite short-term, mid-term, long-term rental podcast in the world. And today we got a special guest, Mr. Dr. Financial himself, Ron Curtis, and Ron's gonna bring it today, man. He's got over 20 STRs using the automated co-host model. I can't wait to dive into what that is exactly. I love automations. He was on BiggerPockets. He's a 9-to-5 preneur like a lot of us, and I'm excited to chat with him. Welcome to the show, Dr. Financial.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be here.
Cool. Yeah, man. So how did you get your start in the short-term rental world?
All right, great question, Steve. So pretty much I always had an infatuation with house hacking. While I was in college, I found out about house hacking, and what I pretty much did was I purchased a home and I turned my basement into an Airbnb. And from that, I was able to cookie cut that process and duplicate it across multiple people's property. And I realized co-hosting properties allows me to scale way faster than actually, going and doing rental arbitrage or purchasing properties on my own.
Oh, cool. So the co-hosting model, how did you see? So, I'm a co-host myself. I manage properties for other people. I do the arbitrage thing also. I'm a home, I own some properties too. But the co-hosting thing, yes, that's the creme de la creme. That's what we all go after because, like you said, you don't need a lot of money to start doing it. You find people that need help, running their Airbnbs, and you go in and you co-host, and you run it for them, and then they pay you a percentage. So how do you go from how do you find people that lets you do that? Because it's become, there's millions of co-hosts now, right? All over the world, all over the planet, every single country is emailing people that have Airbnbs nonstop. So how are you able to find people to trust you to manage their units?
That's a great question. I would say it starts with doing good business, right? So I started my first Airbnb. The reason I'm called Dr. Financial is prior to this, I had a lot of different passive income businesses, such as rental cars, taxes, credit, drop shipping, vending machines of that nature. And once people saw that I had success in those different fields, once I started doing Airbnb, it was kind of like a word of mouth thing. So I got my first property. I managed it. I was traveling. I still had bookings while I wasn't home. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. So I automated the process. I had a client. She went and got 3 properties all within 1 year, 2 arbitrages, and actually bought a condo and just threw me the keys, right? Ron, go do your thing. You've helped me write an ebook before. You helped me start my Turo business, manage these properties for me. So that's how I got my first 3, which had me 4 under my belt. And from there, it was kind of like word of mouth in the Washington, D.C. area of people needing, co-hosts and property managers. And also because I had a credit repair business, I was already tapped in with a lot of realtors and lenders. So when I'm going to these networking events and they know me as the credit guy, and they see I'm doing Airbnb, they're one of the main, people that can connect you with homeowners. So that's pretty much how I got started and was able to scale so quickly.
Nice. And so let's go back to the root of this because you mentioned so many different things you were trying. Drop shipping, Turos, taxes, all kinds of stuff. Have you always been the entrepreneur type? I mean, when did this start? When you were a kid, like selling baseball cards, or when did it all start, man?
Yeah, that's crazy. Ironically, you said the first thing I ever sold. I know a lot of people in the anime and Dragon Ball Z. When I was in elementary school, guys really like Dragon Ball Z pictures. We used to draw them and trace them. One guy didn't have a printer at his house. He actually paid me $100 for a Goku and Vegeta picture. Right? He stole it out of his mom's purse, but he got in trouble. Later on, I had to give it back. But that was the first sale that I can remember. And honestly, when the pandemic happened, so that was my shift, right? I was a 9-to-5 preneur. I worked for the DC government. I'm working 40 hours a week right out of college nonstop. And then I was able to stop and think for myself. And because I was getting paid every 2 weeks, I wasn't going anywhere, money was stacking. I said, okay, let me start trying some of these business ideas that I've been researching and just jump off the porch and do it. And I started just diving into different businesses and learning and things of that nature.
That's cool, man. Real quick, I've seen a million entrepreneur or guru commercials about drop shipping. Is that you to become a millionaire doing drop shipping, or is that just played out?
Probably at scale. That's one of the first things I got into, and I got really good at it. I was drop shipping on eBay, taking products from other major retailers, listing them as if I had them when somebody ordered it, leverage credit to fulfill the order. I really started getting really good at it to the point where I hired a virtual assistant to do market research and create my store. And what happened was I scaled way too fast. eBay flagged my account. And they actually shut it down. Wasn't doing anything illegal unless they don't allow drop shipping, but they allow major companies to do that. But that's kind of what happened with that, and it made me pivot to another industry.
Oh, hey, how y'all doing? Stevie Stacks here from Live Let Thrive, and I thought I'd give a quick shout out to my buddy Brian Wynn over at themusecoffee.co. Man, this is some good stuff. Brian's a longtime listener of the show, fellow entrepreneur, and he's been sending us coffee for a while now, and this is some really, really good coffee from the best places on earth, best beans on earth, freshly roasted and sent to your front door in a couple days, and you'll know what I'm talking about. So my buddy Brian Wynn over at the Muse Coffee, hit him up. He'll hook you up. If he knows you're a fan of the show, you put in code LLT, you get an extra 20% off your order. I mean, what do you got to lose, y'all? Help us keep the lights on, help a fellow entrepreneur, and get you some good coffee in the process. Themusecoffee.co. Yo. And that's, I mean, it's essentially arbitrage, right? You're selling something that ain't yours. It's just like a house that you're renting and then renting it out on Airbnb or something like that.
Exactly. And it's similar to the Turo model as well. What my background is maintenance oversight for DC government. I oversee public transit contracts and also all different types of contracts related to vehicles. And I say, you know what? I do this for my 9 to 5. I'm not even really interested in it, but I can buy this car on a credit card with my friend. We go into business together, and then we renting out the car. And the car at the $200 to $300 note on a car, an economy vehicle, is grossing $1,000 a month in revenue. And I got kind of tired of cars breaking down, people getting into accidents, things like that. So I say, you know what? Airbnb is the exact same thing, only your house, can't go get in a car accident. A lot more things can happen, but it's way better in my opinion.
Yeah. That's what because I've been tempted to do Turo so much, especially as something like in conjunction with my Airbnbs. I thought that would be cool to do something like that. And everything works out, hunky dory until an accident happens. And that kind of messes things up, don't it?
Yeah, I mean, you have insurances in place, things to protect you, but again, it's time. You can always get more money, but you can't get time when your car's off the road. And one thing that I've actually started to do since I'm no longer in that space, I have friends and business partners in this area that are still in Turo, are still in hire car, right? So one thing that I do is I can leverage their vehicles on my listings. Hey, you need a rental car? Reach out to me. And now, my motto is how can we get money together, right? You can turn it into a revenue generating model by, hey, if I send a client your way, I want a percentage of every ride. Or you can just do good business, and now you have rental cars on your listing that make you look better. You don't got to go buy no car. You don't got to take on no loan. You just got to go find somebody who has a fleet of Turo vehicles that needs bookings just like you on Airbnb.
No, that's brilliant, man. Because they think, well, these are your cars, but not really. It's just a service you're offering, but it's not even yours. Another arbitrage model. I love that. So we'll jump into how you were able to scale to 20 units. So you had the friend, she handed you the keys, you got 3 right off the bat. That's how I've been able to scale my business mostly is with the existing clients or friend of a friend, and then they just keep getting more and more units and throwing them at me. That's how I've been able to do it, and it's a very powerful, word of mouth. Everybody, oh, you got to go and make 1 million commercials and all that. Word of mouth is pretty strong.
Yeah. Definitely. Word of mouth is great too. I have another strategy that I use, and this one has actually been able to help me scale and manage properties in countries and states and cities that I've never even been to. And the way that I do it, I provide value, right? So social media is so diverse, right? The reach is global. So I like to leverage Facebook groups, right? I join every last Facebook group that I can. And in every market, every city, wherever, whatever one pops up when I type in Airbnb Facebook group. And what I do, I'm just adding value every day. If I get on Facebook, the algorithm is now showing me nothing but Airbnb. And what I do, I find the needles in a haystack, answer people's questions, tell them, hey, I'll send you a message. Hey, if you need help, message me. And then I get them on the phone. And once I understand what their pain points are and they see the value add that I can bring, a lot of times, they end up taking a chance and going with me, and they've never met me a day in their life. And I've been able to help them not only rebuild their businesses, whether they had a bad listing and we started over, or do like a listing makeover, right? Listing optimization, SEO, get them some professional photos, get them some pricing software in the back end, and then put in my automations to help it run hands-free. So that's what my niche is. That's what I'm good at. And that's one of the main reasons I've been able to scale so fast.
That is cool, man. Going in on the socials, going in there, answering questions, just being active on there. That pays dividends, man. I hate social media, but I know it's it's something that we got to do, or have a virtual assistant do it for you. That's even better. So go into this automated co-host model. What exactly you mean by that?
All right, so pretty much I like to leverage systems, people, and processes, right? So me having a government background, they're real big on SOP, standard operating procedures, technical writing. Like, if we were to fire you today, we need a document that tells the next person exactly what you do, right? Step by step. So I've incorporated that in my business. So that's the first thing, right? Every property has a different check-in, et cetera, right? It's a different flow. The second thing is like your tech stack. So if anyone doesn't know what a tech stack is, it's pretty much the systems that you use to manage your properties. So if I just have an Airbnb and I'm managing 3 properties, I may not need, and I'm only listed on Airbnb, I may not need something called a channel manager, which allows you to link all of your properties, right? But once you get 20 plus properties, you don't want to be logging into all these different platforms to respond to inquiries and manage reservations. So I leverage, channel managers, pricing automation software. You said virtual assistants. I definitely leverage virtual assistants. It gives me a competitive advantage when I'm going out here and I'm pitching myself to these owners and investors. I know Evolve is one of the biggest, one of the biggest property management companies, but a lot of people hate their customer service. I've been able to take customers from Evolve just based on me operating as a business and as a professional. There's a lot of amateurs doing this, and I just like to operate like a business and make it professional.
Yeah, picking off Evolve. I like that. We've gotten some from them before. Yeah, they said similar things. They're not very good at what they do. I mean, they do it for cheap, but they're not very, you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah. Evolve will
So
do it for 10%. Oh.
I know. So we'll go into like you can go in your tech. Tell me about your tech stack real quick before I get to these other questions. What are you usually working with?
Yeah, so tech stack, I'll use Hospitable, which is the channel manager, PriceLabs, a pricing software. I'm working on demoing some accounting softwares to make it, easier to pull data in real time, so I don't have to rely on my bookkeeper and things of that nature. Turno is a great way to find cleaners in other markets, whether you want to hire an independent contractor or you can, Google a major company. But I like using Turno. You control your margins, you control your overhead, and you can kind of craft a perfect team for your property. But yeah, those probably the main ones that I use. I'm looking at the direct booking sites now. I used to be a data analyst for the DC government, so I was managing systems. So I know how to go test the system and see which system I need. So Guesty, Hospitable, Uplisting, OwnerRez, they all do the exact same thing. They just have different bells and whistles and different price points. So I just found one that worked for my business model that was easy user capability, right? And then I can train people on it as well.
I like that. So what do you use to communicate with your team? I mean, you're doing a lot of automations. Your team's handling a lot of it. What are you using to communicate back and forth with the team?
So I have like an ops manager. I use Trello. I like to keep it simple. I like to keep the systems free. So I use Trello to track all of the tasks for my virtual assistant, my operations manager. And really, I use a Slack channel. I have virtual assistants in the Philippines, virtual assistants in Pakistan, and we have one group chat where check-ins and checkouts are reported, any damage, before and after photos, and then they log and track all of that stuff on their end.
Oh, it's interesting because I mean, my VAs are in Philippines, and then I got one in Argentina, and then of course, my wife helps out the business a little bit here, so she's doing a little something for me. But you said Philippines and Pakistan. Why would you choose those two different sides of the world? And I think I know the answer, but why would you choose from different parts of the world?
Well, first, I have experience working with virtual assistants in those two markets. And I think there's a time chain difference as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but one is economies of scale. I understand how money works. I've traveled to different countries, and I see, if I land in South America, my $1,000 is now worth 5,000, right? So at the same time, I'm helping them provide for their family. I'm paying them respectable wages. I'm giving them bonuses and things of that nature. And at the same time, I'm able to, get the service that I need completed. Uh, I have 24-hour customer service. That's in Pakistan. And then in the ops manager, listing, SEO, like helping and stuff like that, pricing software, they're in the Philippines.
Okay, so that's interesting. Why you break things up as tasks instead of like just shifts? Like everybody, day shift's gonna do all this stuff, afternoon's gonna do the same stuff, midnight's gonna do the same stuff, but you breaking it up into tasks. Why are you doing it that way?
Yeah, so I've been working with virtual assistants probably since 2020, 2019, so almost 4 or 5 years now. And I kind of learned kind of like hiring a individual cleaner on turnover, right? You never know what you're gonna get, right? I work with virtual assistants in Africa, right? They have electrical power issues, power goes out, same thing in the Philippines. So what I realized was instead of me having, these one virtual assistants that I have to train from scratch, I found companies that already had a team. That already work a 3 hour, three shifts, and they might manage, 50 other properties. They're already trained. They're teaching me stuff, right? They're helping me get my business refined. Oh, you do that? That's how you. Okay, cool. And it's like I realized, you can learn from everyone, and I like to pay the experts at what they're good at. And if I interview you, you show me something I never saw before, you teach me something, I'm gonna try you out. And that's kind of how I've been doing it.
I like that, man. See, a lot of people wouldn't admit to that. They're learning from employees, and I do that too. I run my company, but I'm always learning from the way they're doing things. Because here's the thing: like my employees or ones we've had before, the current ones, they've worked for other short-term rental companies, right? Of course, we look for them people with experience. I look for people with experience, and they can say, well, over here, they did it this way. And I'm like, that's pretty interesting. We could try that. We could try that. I like that. I'm not too proud to not hear other people's opinions and ideas. So I'm like, if you can make it work that way, I'm open to it. If it don't work, then we ain't gonna do that no more.
Exactly. And like you should always surround people around you, especially as a CEO that's smarter than you, right? I was doing bookkeeping when I had 3 properties on Excel sheets. Now I have QuickBooks and a live tracker and all this stuff. And now I'm looking at software. So it's like it helped me realize like I can't be the only person on the team scoring. I have to pass the ball. I have to learn, I'm doing consultations. I'm learning about different softwares. I'm asking questions because you can learn something from anybody. You learn from the janitor, you can learn from the CEO. And knowledge is one of the most valuable assets, especially in today's society. So it actually pays to ask questions because you can get an ROI from that.
Mm, I like that. I like that. So we'll go more into that a little bit. So like, okay, you're building your team. You got them doing the different tasks and everything. Now, are you on top of them like 24/7, or are you kind of let them do their thing? And hey, if they mess up, they mess up. That's how they learn. What kind of manager are you of your team?
That's a great question. So I think when people make mistakes, they shouldn't be penalized for it because it's a learning process, right? especially if I'm onboarding you, you're pretty new. What I do for the DC government, I oversee contracts, right? And I have contractors that work and do all the work. And I just have to make sure they abide by the contract. So, like, ironically, that skill is transferable as well, right? I'm not the one fixing buses, but I'm the one signing off if the work was done completely. Same thing. I'm not the one putting together my cleaning invoice for the month, or I'm not the one, responding to every message, right? But I am taking a peek and making sure everything's good. So, like, I would say the biggest thing, is when they respond to messages. Hey, I like to have a birthday party. It'd be 15 of us. It's a family thing. We're not going to have a party. It's just going to be a kickback. They think, oh, no parties. No, we can't have a party. No, we're going to take that $1,000 booking and charge them a $250 event fee and say, yeah, you can have your event here, but there's no parties, quiet hours, agree to the rules. You're good to go. So little things like that, because they think, from what my experience, they're so black and white and so organized. If you tell them, hey, this is the test, this is the rules, sometimes you got to tweak it a little bit for them. So I'll just send a message, hey, just for future purposes, know that this is how this goes.
Yo, Stevie Stacks again. One more quick shout out to themusecoffee.co. That's themusecoffee.co. Get you a freshly roasted bag of coffee today. Go to themusecoffee.co, use code LLT, and get you 20% off of a bag of the best coffee you'll ever have in your life. Themusecoffee.co, y'all. I do like that, In every situation, you get to build newer systems from it, right? Because something happens. I mean, if you're on top of it all the time, not letting them make mistakes, then hey, man, you're gonna be making a big job for yourself. But if they do make a mistake, but we go and investigate what happened, then we can create a new process for it so it won't happen again.
And something else I recently did, of course, managing 20, having notifications coming to you, having a full-time job, I realized every notification that comes to my phone, it takes a little bit out of me, even if my focus, my attention, right? So what I did was I said, I need a buffer. I need someone to flag. I need a filter to flag all of the stuff that I don't want to worry about, right? So that's what made me hire an operations manager. And I say, hey, you manage the cleaning team. You manage the customer service team. You reach out to me if there's an issue, and weekly I'll give you tasks, because it's like the business runs itself. Now I'm like, okay, go research this, create an SOP on this, tweak this checklist, things like that, things that I don't want to do. I want to focus on what I'm good at, right? Is, building teams, helping people generate revenue, and helping pay their bills. So I think delegation is one of the biggest things that you can do as a CEO, because it allows you to buy back your time.
That's powerful, man. That's so true. That's so true. Something funny I thought of while you were saying that is, like I said, I recently brought my wife on board to help a little bit, right? And so she's diving into, learning the turnovers and stuff like that, and answering some messages, and because she wanted to help out in the company. I said, all right, I got a spot for you, and so those first few weeks, she'd been like, hey, over here, unit so and so, this is happening. Which, are you gonna do something about it? Or unit so and so, this is happening. And I was like, what's happening? I was like, don't worry, they're gonna take care of it. That's why I pay them for, so they can take care of these situations. I don't want to know every single little incident that's happening. I got people in place, and they got systems, and they know what to do, right? But to her, so I'm like hearing things that I haven't heard in a long time. It's so funny, right? And I'm like, well, no, I'm not. No, I got people for that. They're gonna handle it. If they can't handle it, it'll escalate to me. But it's so funny when she's like it's like a new toy for her. She's like, oh, check this. What's going on here? Why are you doing it that way? What if they, what if they're gonna throw a party? It's like, we got systems in place. They got good reviews. They got this and that. I don't know. To me, it was funny when you said that. You got your buffer. I got my buffer. I got my the president of the company. She's in the Philippines, Princess. Shout out to Princess, but she's amazing. And so she don't want to bother me. She feels bad about bothering me about things. And I'm cool with it. I'll help out
That's
a situation. Good. But I mean, I don't know all the little intricacies what they're doing, because I know that I'm getting the results, and if I go in there, I can help out if I need to, or give them some some guidance on some things. But they know exactly what they're doing. They know better than me, and that's what you want. You want to hire people that know more than you, right? I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, definitely. And I like how you said you guys like to hire people who worked, you know, for other short-term rental companies, right? Something else that's pretty cool, and I'm pretty sure you do this, is to hire people that actually work for the companies.
Yeah.
Whether previously or currently, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have insider access to, you know, what's going on, updates, software. They know processes. Like a perfect example, if you hire a virtual assistant from Airbnb, from the Philippines, they used to work in the claims department, right? They know everything about the claims process. You hire them and have them manage all your claims. They may even have connections, friends, or even family members that work at those companies still. So like, yeah, business is about relationships, right? We're trading money, value for value, but at the same time, we're providing good services and we're doing good business together.
You spilled some major tea right there, man. And if people are listening, that's probably the biggest thing they can get from this show. If you're trying to do what we're trying to do, you know, scale these big short-term rental management companies. But hiring and exactly like I said, Princess, she used to work for Airbnb and did the claims, you know, all that stuff. So she's
Wow.
a killer, man. She's a killer. She gets us paid out. That's why I don't fear parties, man. I don't fear parties because we're gonna come at them and we're gonna get paid, man. It's whatever. We're giving away too much information to these listeners. I just
Yeah. Hey, let's hit on parties for a second. And this is why it's so important. So I have a client. He has a house in Baltimore, and his property just went viral like 2-3 weeks. No, New Year's. His property went viral. We had somebody throw a New Year's party. His property went viral on TikTok. He has like over 6 million views of it, and they destroyed his house because they were throwing a party, and we canceled. We told him reservations over. They destroyed his house, and he's working on the claim, but I think he's going to get paid out a nice amount of money. And it's just crazy, you know, people destroy your properties, but as long as it's in your listing, as long as, you know, you have your rules, you want to deter those type of people away from destroying your assets.
Yeah, that's they destroyed his whole house. That's crazy. I've seen those nightmare scenarios, but that's the stuff that makes the big news. Usually, if a party situation happens, it's not that bad. I mean, not like that. It's a big mess to clean up most of the times. It might break a couple things, but if you know how to submit everything, you know how to keep. Well, you hire people that know how to do that, right? Keep everything in order, send those claims, do it in a timely fashion, know how to word everything. You're gonna get paid out. And if you don't know how to do that, you're gonna lose a lot of money in this game, man. If you don't know how to do claims or you don't find someone that knows how to do claims, you're going to lose a lot of money.
Yeah. Even with the little things, everything adds up and go right back to your bottom line.
So I know we're jumping around a lot. So that being said, do you use something like proper insurance on your places?
So ironically, I just got back from the short-term rental wealth conference in Nashville, and they were one of the vendors there. So of course, you know, I've only been doing this 2 years. I always thought, you know, that proper insurance was like supplemental insurance, you know, if you did direct bookings or off-market bookings, right? But I learned a lot about insurance and liability at the conference this year, and it's definitely something I'm gonna look into. And I think it's, you know, $30 or something like that, and you just build that into your nightly rate, make it a linen fee or something like that, and now you're also protected just in case Airbnb doesn't pay out your claim. You can submit that claim through your proper insurance or whatever supplemental short-term rental insurance you have. So
yeah.
I got to look into that. I haven't done it yet, but I'm definitely going to look into it.
I would see. I was kind of like you. I haven't really messed with the insurance part of things too much. You know, I've had clients that came with it and stuff, but I haven't. You know, I've been like, well, we got a great person that does claims, and so we're good on that end. But I will say this past little freeze that came through North Texas, a pipe burst at one of the houses that we arbitraged. Now, it puts you in a weird spot when you're doing an arbitrage, right? Because you're telling the owner, hey, a pipe burst. And they're like, well, hey, did you cover up the things? Yeah, I covered up the spigots. You know, they ran the water, the heater, and it makes this weird back and forth thing. And so, I mean, they paid it and they got the floors fixed. I mean, it flooded. It kind of sucked. But there was a big gap of we couldn't put nobody in there, right?
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't want to sound like a commercial for proper. I haven't signed up with them yet, but now I'm thinking, and I've heard you might have seen my buddy Mike Brown. He was over there at the convention. A lot. We probably know a lot of the same people. But anyways, he swears by it. He says that if that situation would have happened, they would have paid it out. Proper insurance would have paid it out. Had the plumber fix the thing, replaced all the flooring, plus all the time that month, that almost 3 weeks of you couldn't rent it out, you get paid out for that time. For it goes on the percent your average nightly stay is and what you usually get, and so you'd be still getting paid for that. So
So wow, they pay you for lost revenue. That's cool. Okay.
pay for lost revenue, and so that's pretty cool. So that's why I'm changing my tune a little bit. Yes, it's cool that you have someone that's great at claims and they can win those claims and stuff. But what happens when a furnace blows up or a water heater blows up or the place floods, then that ain't a guess thing, right? So anyways, yeah, I'm changing my tune on insurance. Yeah, and you heard a lot about it over at your place. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. So that being said, so how did the BP thing happen? Bigger pockets, man. That's a huge deal. How did that happen?
Honestly, God, man. So pretty much what happened, I listened to this book during the pandemic called Set for Life by Scott Trench. And it pretty much tells you how to save your first $25,000 and to start house hacking. And I pretty much took the steps from that book, and that's how I bought my first house, saved my first 25,000. I bought a $420,000 house. I only spent $3,700 to acquire it. Took out a home renovation loan, turned my basement to an Airbnb. And I happened to be on Instagram scrolling this past spring, and a post, surprisingly, a Bigger Pockets ad came up. I didn't even know what Bigger Pockets was prior to this post, right? And I commented, that book came up, 5 books you should read as a property manager. The first one, Set for Life by Scott Trench. And I just leave a comment. I say, this book changed my life. I bought a house, scaled from 1 to 20 properties. Boom, I would highly recommend it. And I woke up the next morning and Scott Trench sent me a DM. I'm thinking he's just the author of the book. And he said, I would love to interview you in my podcast, Bigger Pockets. I get to Google. I'm like, wow, he's the CEO of Bigger Pockets? That's insane. And it's God. Like, I mean, so that's why I say the power of social media. A comment on an ad turned into a feature. And that's kind of how that happened for me. It was very organic.
That is so cool, man. Because I've been a Bigger Pockets fan forever. Starting off my real estate journey, because that's what it was back then. It was primarily real estate, and they branched off and they talk about short-term rentals. They talk about everything now. But I've been so that's, to me, that's a huge deal. And the fact that you weren't even a listener, but you read the book or listened to the book, and then you did the thing, which most people don't do the thing, right? And you did the thing, and it helped you. It changed your life, put you on the right trajectory, and they wanted to hear your story, and that's so cool, man. I love that. And going back real quickly, how the hell did you get a $400,000+ house for $3,700?
All right, perfect. So I bought a 422.5 house in DC. So when I wanted the house hack, I started researching first-time homebuyer programs. And NACA was one that I was very interested with, right? And then I realized NACA probably wouldn't work for me what I was trying to do, because I wanted to buy a multi-unit. But multi-units in Washington, D.C. in 2021 in the worst neighborhoods were probably like $700,000-$800,000, right? So I said, let's scratch that. So I leveraged my job, W-2, and then because I'm a D.C. government employee, they have first-time homebuyer programs for D.C. government employees, right? So I was able to get like $25,000 from a first-time homebuyer program. And then I was able to combine another program called DC Open Doors, and they gave me 12.5. So all in all, I had 30, was that 12 plus 25? I had 37.5, right? And they fronted that for me to buy my house. So when I got my house, I put a $5,000 in my earnest money deposit. At closing, they credited me $1,200 back. And I used that to buy extended homeowners warranty for like 2 or 3 years. So all in all, I spent $3,700 to buy a house that was turnkey ready to go. And I just had to put a kitchen in my basement. I had everything else, had the full shower, the bedroom. Like, that was my goal, to buy a house that I can house hack. Had to have a basement, had to have a private entrance. And who would have known me busting my single family home into a duplex would now give me the skill set to manage properties all over the world. So that's how I got that house, and that's God too as well. It's crazy.
That's awesome, man. It's so people are like, no, it's impossible, can't be done. How am I gonna get a house? It costs this much, everything's so expensive. But you found a way, but you hustled to get it, man. You found every program out there to help you on his first time home buyer and leverage your W-2. You did everything to get the deal done, and you made sure, and that was a big part. You made sure there was part of it that you could rent out as a house hack. Otherwise, if you're just buying a house, I mean, I guess you could have rented the rooms out or something like that. That's another house hack, but you wanted something separate, and then that led you to learning the short-term rental game. So that's I applaud you for that, man. That's pretty inspiring. And you said, of course, you always give the glory to God, and that's so cool too. I was gonna say, so DC, did they start getting some heavy regulations too against short-term rentals?
Definitely. So actually, after I bought my house, if I bought my house in March and I started my renovation in September, the following April is when they dropped short-term rental laws, right? I wish I would have known about it 10 years ago, right? But because I'm a DC resident, owner-occupied home, they allow you to rent out your home on a limited amount of nights as long as you don't owe DC any taxes, you occupy the home. And I think you have something called homestay, which means DC is your, place of living. That's for the short-term rental license. They also have a vacation rental license where you can rent out your home 90 days out the year being off-site. And that's what a lot of investors do with their long-term properties, right? And then there's another loophole where there's not a long-term rental restriction. So a lot of people list their properties for 30 days or more, and then you get a lot of midterm bookings that way also. DC, Maryland, and Virginia, there's so many cities within 10 to 15 minutes of one another. All of the cities have different regulations.
Wow. So that, in a way, where your position, how your position is pretty good because it keeps a lot of competition away, right? And so you must do very well in that unit because there's not a lot of. It's not like in Dallas where everybody and their mama got an Airbnb, right? It's just only certain people who fit the criteria can get Airbnb, so it keeps away a lot of the competition.
Yeah, and that's what like I'm a big data guy. So like that's where the data really comes into play, where you see who your competition is, how many are in the market. Like when they dropped that license, I went and saw like, I don't know if it was like 15, 20,000 properties fell off of Airbnb from that, right? And of course, supply and demand. Washington, D.C., these monuments aren't going anywhere, museums, the White House, none of that. People are always going to travel here, right? Our busy season is anywhere from March. This year was going into January. Usually it's like October. So it shows me like this is a great market, and they put those restrictions in there to stop people from investing and, getting this Airbnb money in a sense.
Did you host any of the January 6th people?
I didn't. Nope, I didn't. Surprisingly. And then my properties aren't that close to the, but yeah, nope. Surprisingly. Luckily, I didn't.
No QAnons up in there.
That was something to worry about.
Damn. Oh, did they shut down the city for that? What was something happened? I don't remember. Something crazy happened in DC.
Nah, they didn't shut down the city. So I mean, basically, they just had their protests and they marched, and then they marched from one place to another. And then I think he told him to go storm the Capitol, and that's exactly what they did. And it was crazy. It was crazy. Like it's unimaginable, but it happened. And I'm pretty sure all those people that came there, a lot of them probably did stay in Airbnbs and things like that. So that's one thing that's so great about the nation's capital, especially with having new elections and new presidents. What every 4 years they get reelected, you have all new types of people coming to this area, whether it's for politics, business, etc. So I think this is like a great market in the DMV area.
Oh, definitely, man. I need to go. I've never been to DC, but I need to go check it out. Check out all the monuments and stuff.
You come with your family, I can throw you guys in the Airbnb. I got you.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. So you help out people now. You coach. You mentioned the word coach. So what got you into like coaching other people how to do this? Not, I guess, not just co-hosting their properties, but you're just coaching them, showing them how to do it. What brought you into that?
Yeah, so both my parents are educators. My dad's been a principal my entire life. My mom works in elementary school, and I've always had a passion for learning, right? A lot of times people want to hoard and hide information. Like even on this podcast, I probably said things that, people would pay for, right? And I really think, the knowledge that you have to put it out to the world, right? So prior to this, I was a financial literacy coach. And when I say that, with me having a credit business, I was educating people on the power of credit. Credit is one of the main reasons I was able to buy my house. I didn't even mention that, right? And then I started teaching. I started getting paid to teach communities about credit and budgeting and business and passive income. And I'm going to schools and I'm teaching kids, right? And all of this was like over the past 2 years. This year, I just niched down to focus primarily on short-term rentals. But I have had, mentorships. I have had people that I taught how to do all these things because I firmly believe in collaboration over competition. There's enough money out here for all of us. If you want to start an Airbnb in the DMV area, I will show you how, because I know that there's Airbnbs in every city across this world. And I've managed properties in Tulum, Mexico. I've never been to Tulum. I'm working on managing a property in Colombia and Cartagena. If this lady messaging me back. But I'm saying all that to say, like, I understand there's enough for everybody to go around. I can give you the recipe on how to cook, but that doesn't mean you're going to make it like me, right? So I don't have a problem giving you the tools that you need to get to at least where I'm at, because I'm trying to get to the next level and somebody poured into me. So I just feel like I have to do my due diligence and pour into others. Anybody who's interested about changing their life.
You know what's interesting? That's cool. Is when because like this show, man, we're gonna get to 300 episodes soon enough, but we've given away so much knowledge, right? I think we've been giving away so much knowledge. We had a lot of heavy hitters from the industry on our show, and just giving it away. But it seems like it always comes back to you, right? So someone will hit me up, say, hey, Steve, how do I do this, and I'll help them. I'll help people out. I won't ask for nothing. But then later that, why don't you just manage this one for me? Or I got a friend that has one. Can you help her and manage hers or his, whatever, like that? It's like it comes back to you. It's not just you're giving it away, you're making $0. You're helping people out, and like you said, you can give them all the ingredients. You can tell them exactly how to cook this awesome meal, but they're like, in the end, why don't you just cook it for me and I'll pay you? How about that? So I love that.
Exactly.
It always comes back to you. But when you give, what do they say? What is that famous quote? You can get anything in life you want if you help other people get what they want.
Exactly. And it always comes back to, I'm real big on faith, real big on God. It's like, what would God want me to do, right? And it's like, I'm glad that you said it. It comes in so many different ways. Like you help somebody or you helping somebody in their financial situation. You helping somebody buy back their time to spend time with their family and go to their kids' football game or dance recital, right? You have your what's the word I'm looking for? You have different ways of giving back. It's not always monetary. It'll come back in the least form that you expect, right? Oh, Ron, you do Airbnb? You are like, let me introduce you to my friend. He manages an apartment building. Like, or just like stuff like that. And it's like, wow, people start to realize who you are and what you're doing when you just do good by people. There's so many scammers out here, especially in this industry, right? And I've never scammed anybody in my life. And I don't see how people can do that. But it's like, once you find someone that's good, have good intentions, and they're willing to teach you and not want nothing in return, that's when you found the right coach, mentor, etc. And that's just the value I try to provide to my clients and also anybody who's interested in doing what I'm doing.
That's powerful right there, because I mean, yeah, like you said, so many scammers and people come to us getting off a guru program, and they put them into a house that they paid way too much rent for, paid too much furniture, paid too much to the guru, and they're like, hey, this thing ain't profiting. What do I do? And we try to help them, but like, man, you're in a tough situation, dude. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, the guru got money from you and stuff, but it sucks when people get screwed like that.
Anybody selling you anything that says turnkey Airbnb, anything, stay away from them. And that's only because I've had so many clients come to me like, oh, just gave this person $6,000 and the property is in Puerto Vallarta and it's not doing anything. Or I spent $10,000 in Tulum with this guy and now I'm not making any money. he said I was getting bookings and he was charging dollar bookings on booking.com. And I'm like, oh my God, why would people do this to people? But yeah, you have to be leery because people have shiny object syndrome. Ooh, Airbnb, I want to do that. Oh, you got some money? Oh yeah, let me get you funded. Okay, we got you this $10,000 credit card. Let's go ahead and swipe it and you figure it out yourself. Like that's what people do.
Yeah.
But that's not my business model at all.
Right. So also, you mentioned on the show you're a 9 to 5 preneur, and do you that which pretty much of course means you keeping your job, but you're running your successful business. Also, people call it a side hustle, but it could be turning into your main hustle if it hasn't already. Now, why do you continue to stay a 9 to 5 preneur, and when do you see a point where you want to jump out? It's hindering you being able to go to like even higher levels.
Great question. I feel like God's processing me, right? So I've been in DC government for 10 years, right? Two different jobs. Only had two jobs since I've been out of college. I'm 30 years old. And I still have to develop the skills of discipline, right? And when I say that, managing all of my finances, right? I can't leave my job just because in the summer I might have made 20K. And then like I got to be able to know all my numbers, right? So that's the first thing, right? The second thing, like getting the small things done. Wow, yeah, you manage 20 properties part-time. That's cool. Did you go to the gym today? Did you cook your meal? Did you put healthy food in your body? Did you follow up with that? Like I'm focused on getting a handle on the small things. And I've noticed my 9 to 5 allows me to do that. Because when I go into the office, I don't have a high stress job that's demanding. It allows me to, if I gotta sit there for 8 hours, I'm gonna think and I'm gonna write down some stuff and I'm gonna organize my thoughts. So like I look at my nine, I recently just developed this. I had to pay a nice little tax bill. And I recently say, you know what? If I didn't have my 9 to 5 and I had to pay that, I would be like, in survival hustle mode, right? So my 9 to 5 is my number one investor. They pay me every single 2 weeks, no matter how hard I work or how don't hard I work, right? They afford me with the W-2s to be able to go out and borrow money because I know about credit. I have a great credit score. I know how to leverage it. I know how to access it. And it's like healthcare, right? I found out this week in there's different ways, when you go full time, healthcare. But I'm just saying before I leave, I have to master the small things because when you have money, there's so much other things to think about in life. Health matters more to me than money now, right? And it's like, okay, am I going to compromise my health at the risk of, success or making money? So that's why I haven't left yet. Except for like, God's telling me to leave. My job is it's not comfortable. It's convenient. I'm a 6-figure earner. It's like, it's chill. I have seniority, but I'm not comfortable at all. I don't even like when they ask me to do stuff. When you send me an email, hey, Ron, why are you emailing me? And it's like, I don't know. It's like, hey, do this busy work. Hey, did you check the can you send an email about the fire alarm beeping? Can they change the battery? Like, I don't want to process my brain on little menial tasks like that. Like, I want to focus on having conversations like this about growth, inspiring people, to create change. That was a
Cool,
little
man.
personal rant for me because they be getting my nerves.
It's like, man, if y'all ran your business like I ran mine, it'd be a lot better around here. but
Exactly. Like, y'all need to go have some virtual assistants. Like, what are y'all doing? Yeah.
no, but then they might let you go. Who knows?
Literally, it's
but so
it's literally like,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm done. My bad.
Oh, no. I was just saying that that's cool that you say that because so many people and like especially when this in the short-term rental world or the real estate world, listening to Bigger Pockets for so long, a lot of people came on and said, "Oh, just burn the ships." You know what I'm saying? Just burn the ships. Just quit your job, do all this stuff, and go all in. It's like, I don't know. It's not the best way to do it a lot of times. Just you could ease into something and learn it good, and then gradually ease out of your 9 to 5. Because I'll say this: I still have my 9 to 5, but it's a really flexible job where I can give away a lot of shifts. So I've been slowly, giving away, giving away 2 days here and this week, 3 days here, just testing the waters, and it's cool. I get a lot of stuff done in my business that I wouldn't have being at work all day, but it does help you when you do have a 9 to 5. You can kind of organize your time better, more efficiently, starting off, because okay, 5 o'clock hits, I got to go do these things from 5 o'clock to 7, whereas if you had the whole day off, you're like, I'll do it later. You know what I'm saying? So there's
Exactly.
that aspect to it too.
Yeah, and I actually work like a flexible work schedule as well. So I telework 2 days out the week. I go in the office 3. So it's like every Wednesday is like my Friday. Even though I do work on Thursdays and Fridays, it's like free from that rat race, driving and waking up early, driving in traffic. Like, why am I doing this, right? Because my goal is to make Wi-Fi money, like travel the world, make passive income, and help people, right? So when I do leave my job, I'll probably leave this country for a little while and just go get some visas, digital nomad visas, and go explore, other countries while I'm young and make this Wi-Fi money. But I'm trying to build those habits and skills now. So when it is time for me to leave, I know, everything is checked off and ready to go.
Nice, nice, nice. So in closing, I was gonna touch on one more thing. Where did it go? Man, this has been a great show. I was gonna just say, so being the coach you are, the helping people, what are like a few tips you could give to someone right now to improve their listings, improve their Airbnbs?
Okay. All right. First thing, if someone will need to approve their Airbnb, the first thing I would say is professional photos, right? In the social media world that we live in, no matter what platform you're scrolling on, photos matter, right? Airbnb did a update maybe 6 months ago, something like that, where they revamped their whole page. Airbnb doesn't show you title. The 3 main things you need to focus on: price, reviews, and photos. Those are the 3 main things, right? Your reviews, that drives all customer service, engaging the client, nurturing the client, right? From the time they first reach out to you about a booking to the day after they check out, right? You want to create a message flow that nurtures them, make them feel like all my guests think I'm messaging them. I'm not messaging them. Ron's so communicative. Ron was attentive. Ron was so responsive. People like that, right? You don't get that service at a hotel. Second thing, I see so many people with trash listings. And I'm just saying that because what you all need to realize is your listings are digital real estate, right? People say, oh, you can't sell a property and sell a listing with it, but I can definitely give you my email and give you the password or show you, hey, this house makes this basement makes $30,000 a year. When I sell this house, I'm selling you a business, not just a house, right? So your price, people buy on 3 things anywhere online. I'm gonna say it again: price, reviews, photos. On Amazon, anything you buy, those are the 3 things. So make sure you have the right price, the highest and most competitive price. You definitely want to make sure that you have good reviews, right? If you have a bad listing, start over, right? Start from scratch. You're not selling the property, right? And then last but not least, which I would see is the biggest, I would be a photographer and message every last Airbnb host and say, hey, let me do a photo shoot. Go get professional photos, right? Go on Instagram, search real estate photography, whatever city or state that you're in, hashtag, and go find a photographer. Message a realtor what photographer to use. 9 times out of 10, they'll tag their photographer and pay them $250 to come take a picture of your house. It'll pay off in the long run, and it's 100% write-off. It's deductible for your business.
Nice, nice. Well, cool, man. Thank you for your advice, your inspiration. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and it seems like you always find a way to accomplish what you need to accomplish. And I know bigger things are coming for you, and you give thanks to God. Not a lot of people do that, but I mean, where would we be without him, right? So thank you so much, showing us a glimpse into the DC world a little bit. I know it gets a little crazy over there. It's going to get crazy with these elections coming up. But yeah, man, where can people find you and reach out to you and chat with you?
You guys can find me on TikTok, Dr. DOCTOR_financial. I'm gonna start putting out more content on there. Instagram, my name is Wavy Stays LLC. I'm about to change my business name to Wavy Stay and drop the S. So I might change my Instagram, but it's definitely Wavy Stays. It'll either be Wavy_Stays. I just checked it. So yeah, but right now it's Wavy Stays LLC.
Cool, man. We'll have that in the show notes. Thank you so much, Ron, Dr. Financial, Ron Curtis. Hit him up. He'll help you out. And thank you so much. And we'll see you on our next episode, hopefully. Take care, man.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Live, let, thrive out.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.